Hey everyone, welcome to another video. Today we're going to cover issue number 3 of the Uncanny Avengers, which was written by Jerry Duggan. But before we dive into the story, I want to ask you a favor. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and a comment to help the channel grow. So with that said, this issue opens up on Ellis Island with the Black Widow and Deadpool doing a little bit of target practice on some pumpkins shaped like orcas. And as you may have guessed, Black Widow hit each target without fail. So, as the team continued to relax and take it easy for the day, out of nowhere, Rogue appeared on the scene, stating that Steve is in trouble because he just sent another distress signal. So with the alarm sound and a member of their team in trouble, both Rogue and Quicksilver took the lead and rushed straight to Captain America's side. And to their surprise, Captain America wasn't in trouble in the traditional sense, for Captain America decided to call a press conference at the burned-out former home of the X-Men. And the reason why he did it was to speak his truth to all who would listen. And the first thing he wanted to disclose was that he just did something. He had always told his fellow Avengers that they would get kicked out of the team if they did the same. And that was sending out a distress signal to make the team think they were a mortal danger. But Cap did it for a good reason, for he wanted everyone to meet the heroes who are willing to rush headfirst into danger to save his life, and if the crowd were to look closely, they would notice a lot of those members were mutants. So with that said, as you may have guessed, some people within the audience did not take this kindly, because according to them, the mutants were the ones who attacked them. So that was when Captain America responded by saying, "It doesn't seem like that. But in this country, we have a presumption of innocence." So with that out there, no one has been convicted in a court of law for the attacks at the Hellfire Gala and Washington, D.C. And as for the person who is currently wearing the stolen Captain Krakoa armor, Steve is 100% positive that that person is not Cyclops. And in fact, isn't even positive it's a mutant at all. So with Captain America's controversial take out there, a member of the audience launches a cup his way, spilling it over his chest. Now with that disrespect out there, Deadpool was inches away from springing into action until Steve waved him to stop. Because if there is one thing Captain America knows, that is controlling the optics. Because if Deadpool was seen overreacting, then that could torpedo their efforts. So with Deadpool cooling off, Captain America continued with his speech by continuing his push. Captain then goes on to say the division in the country is being sowed by those who would benefit by fracturing them. And speaking of those who fracture them, we get a small look at Orcus's outlook on the situation, and by the looks of it, they are not happy. But forever the schemers, all they would need to do is provide the trial Cap is talking about. Which means the question is who would be the mutant on display, Cyclops or Charles? So with Orcus planning their next scene, Captain America talked about his love for the nation, but that was when the audience pointed out that the mutants turned their back on America to form their own nation. Which was a valid point, and if Cap was being truthful, he was unhappy that his mutant friends felt that their health and safety couldn't be guaranteed in this country. He was upset that they needed something more than America. Because Captain America, as we all know, is loyal to the dream. But just because the dream is great, doesn't mean reality is as well. Because Captain America believes that all Americans need to hear the truth in order to be better. And the truth is that the American dream isn't the promise it should be. Because fear is being weaponized. Because Americans shouldn't be afraid of different races. Americans don't need to be afraid of the poor and addicted. Americans shouldn't be afraid of what they are reading. Americans shouldn't be afraid of what you're wearing. Americans shouldn't be afraid of differences in political or otherwise. Americans shouldn't be afraid of how someone else lives or how someone else loves, and he thinks. We should always have some healthy skepticism for the folks who ask us to be afraid of the person standing next to us. And Americans should always remember to ask why. Which brings Cap back to the mutants, back to his teammates and friends. Because he is skeptical of the official story. And he's very concerned about Orcus because he believes they are being less than honest, and that is his official truth. So with his speech coming to an end, on a side note, a little old lady approached him and apologized for throwing the drink on him. And to me, that was one of the funniest moments, because Deadpool was dead set on dealing with her. But anyway, getting back to the story, we see Captain America talking to Ben Urich. And during their conversation, Cap points out how he has a meeting later that might be of interest to him if Ben is planning on working later that night. Now following that interaction with Ben, Steve turned his attention to Rogue in order to ask for a favor. Because he wanted to know if Rogue could get word to the X-Men, because he understands that there was a human witness at the massacre during the gala, and with that witness, they can refute the story Orcus is telling. Now at first, Rogue wasn't too sure she could pull it off, but that is when Cap asked for her to put her trust in him, because if they trust him then they would share the witness, so together they can bring down Orcus. So with Cap once again hitting home, Rogue agrees to help him, and then took off to secure the witness. So with that completed, Penance and Quicksilver take off to follow up on a lead. And just like that, the two of them ended up at a mall, but before they got there, we could see some sexual tension building up between the two. But anyway, once at the mall, the two entered to follow up on a hunch, because the last time they fought the twins, Penance smelt a certain perfume on the female. A perfume that her father brought her mother, a very exclusive brand that catered to royalty and diplomats, which her parents were both. So while there, Penance hoped to find some clues, but fortunately, she had miscalculated, because the twins she was looking for were right in front of her. And instantly, upon seeing them, the twins opened fire and missed their target completely and ended up hitting a pillar instead. So with the roof threatening to come down, Penance took it upon herself to hold up the structure. So with the crisis in full swing, Penance quickly told Quicksilver to hurry up and get all the innocent people out of the building, because the last thing they needed was innocent people being hurt. So with lightning-fast speeds, Quicksilver was able to evaluate the people and return back to Penance's side and deliver a thunderous strike before the twins could launch a follow-up attack. So with the twins knocked down, Quicksilver immediately made his way to a construction site nearby and took some beams in order to hold up the roof. So with Penance relieved from her duty, she made it a goal of herself to inflict as much violence on the twins as possible. And just like that, both Penance and Quicksilver went to work and beat the crap out of the mutant traders. So with the twins defeated, the support beams holding up the weight collapsed. But, before it could completely fall, Penance jumped back into the fray, and picked up where she left off, and continued to hold the roof up. So with Penance preoccupied, she yells for Quicksilver to help her because the twins were trying to escape. But as we can see, Quicksilver was in no rush to stop them, because he allowed them to escape. Now the reason behind it was because he planted their trackable ID card on their person, so they can track them later. So with the victory in the bag, Quicksilver placed a deep kiss on Penance and their sexual tension hit a fever pitch. Now following that, we transition over to Steve at his late-night meeting with reporter Ben Urich. And when he gets there, he goes on to tell our big-time reporter that the X-Men have agreed to share their witness. And right when he said that, a gigantic shadow entered the room as Wilson Fisk revealed his identity. And with that said, issue number 3 of Uncanny Avengers comes to an end. But anyway, down in the comment section below let me your thoughts about this issue and what predictions you could have moving forward. So with that established, I hope you enjoyed this video, and please don't forget to leave a like and a comment if you want to see more videos like this. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.